Hi, I'm Dr. John, and if your dog has ever scratched, licked, or chewed at their skin more than usual, this video is going to explain exactly why. Skin allergies are the single most common health issue vets see in dogs today. Not ear infections, not stomach problems. Skin allergies, year after year, top the list. And here's the frustrating part for most owners. The signs often look small at first. A little scratching here, some redness there. It's easy to brush off as nothing. But left unmanaged, these small signs can turn into painful hotspots, chronic infections, and constant discomfort for your dog. Today, I'm covering 12 signs of skin allergies in dogs, from the obvious to the ones almost every owner misses. Number 7 on this list is the one most people blame on just dry skin when it's actually something else entirely. Let's get into it. The first sign is persistent scratching, especially in localized areas. Occasional scratching is completely normal for any dog. But when scratching becomes frequent, focused on the same spots, and doesn't stop after a few seconds, that's a different story. Allergic reactions cause histamine release in the skin, which creates an intense itching sensation. Unlike a quick scratch to relieve a minor tickle, allergy-related scratching tends to be repetitive and almost frantic at times. If you notice your dog scratching the same area multiple times a day, every day, that pattern points strongly toward an allergic response rather than a one-off itch. The second sign is red or inflamed skin. Healthy dog skin, when you part the fur, should appear a light pink or match your dog's natural skin tone. Allergic skin often looks visibly redder, sometimes with small bumps or a rash-like appearance. This inflammation is your dog's immune system overreacting to something, whether it's a food ingredient, an environmental trigger like pollen or dust mites, or a flea allergy. The skin becomes the visible battleground for that internal reaction. Checking your dog's skin regularly, not just their coat, is one of the simplest ways to catch this early before it worsens. The third sign is hair loss, particularly in patches. When a dog scratches or chews at one area repeatedly, the constant irritation and trauma to the hair follicles causes the fur to thin out or fall out completely in that spot. This is different from normal shedding, which tends to be even across the body. Allergy-related hair loss is localized, often symmetrical on both sides of the body, and directly tied to areas the dog focuses on. Common spots include the base of the tail, the belly, the paws, and around the ears. If you notice thinning fur in any of these areas, it's worth a closer look. The fourth sign is hot spots, which vets also call acute moist dermatitis. These are red, inflamed, often oozing patches of skin that can develop within hours. They're usually caused by a dog licking or chewing one area obsessively in response to an allergic itch, which then creates a secondary bacterial infection on top of the original irritation. Hot spots can look alarming, and they often are painful for the dog, but they're extremely common in dogs with underlying allergies. They tend to appear suddenly and can spread quickly if not addressed. If you ever see a wet, red, irritated patch appear seemingly overnight, that's very likely a hot spot, and it's a strong signal that an allergy is driving the underlying behavior. The fifth sign is chronic ear infections. This one surprises a lot of owners because they don't immediately connect ear problems to skin allergies. But the skin inside a dog's ears is just as susceptible to allergic reactions as the skin anywhere else on their body. When allergies affect the ears, they create inflammation and excess wax production, which then becomes a breeding ground for yeast and bacteria. This is why so many allergy dogs end up with recurring ear infections that keep coming back, no matter how many times they're treated. If your dog is shaking their head frequently, scratching at their ears, or if you notice a strong odor or dark discharge, and this keeps happening repeatedly, skin allergies are very likely playing a role. The sixth sign is excessive paw licking or chewing. Paws are one of the most common areas affected by allergies, largely because they come into direct contact with allergens in the environment, whether that's grass, pollen, or chemicals on the ground. A dog that constantly licks or chews at their paws, especially if you notice the fur on their paws looking damp, discolored, or reddish-brown from saliva staining, is showing a classic allergy symptom. This behavior often gets worse after walks or time spent outside. Over time, this licking can lead to swelling between the toes and secondary infections, making the paws sensitive to touch. The seventh sign, and the one most owners misread, is dry, flaky skin combined with a dull coat. Most people see flaky skin and immediately assume their dog just needs more moisturizer or a different shampoo. But when dry skin is paired with an otherwise unexplained, dull, brittle coat, allergies are frequently the real underlying cause. Allergic skin conditions disrupt the skin's natural barrier function, which affects its ability to retain moisture and produce healthy oils. This isn't simply a surface-level dryness that a moisturizing product will fix. It's a sign that the skin's health is being compromised from within. This distinction matters because treating the symptom without addressing the allergy behind it means the problem will keep returning no matter what topical products you try. The eighth sign is skin discoloration, particularly a darkening or thickening of the skin in certain areas. This tends to develop after allergies have been present for a longer period of time, as the skin responds to chronic inflammation and repeated irritation. Areas commonly affected include the armpits, the groin, and the neck. The skin in these spots may take on a grayish or darker tone and feel noticeably thicker or leathery compared to surrounding skin. This sign is important because it indicates the allergy has likely been present for a while, even if it wasn't obvious to you before. It's your dog's skin showing the cumulative effect of ongoing irritation. The ninth sign is a strong, unusual odor coming from the skin. Healthy dog skin generally doesn't have a strong smell, but when allergies are present, they often create the perfect environment for yeast and bacteria to overgrow. This overgrowth produces a distinct musty or sour odor, sometimes described as smelling like corn chips or something slightly sweet and unpleasant. This smell is different from normal dog smell and tends to be localized to specific areas rather than the whole body. If you notice this odor even shortly after a bath, that's a strong indicator that something beneath the surface is causing an ongoing skin issue, not just a hygiene problem. The 10th sign is swelling, particularly around the face, ears, or paws. In more acute allergic reactions, dogs can develop visible swelling, sometimes appearing fairly suddenly. This is the body's inflammatory response working in overdrive. Facial swelling especially, around the eyes, muzzle, or lips, should be taken seriously, since it can sometimes progress quickly. While mild swelling might resolve with basic care, any sudden or significant swelling is worth contacting your vet about the same day. This sign tends to be more obvious than others on this list, but its connection to underlying allergies is often missed. The 11th sign is increased shedding beyond what's normal for the season. All dogs shed, and many breeds have predictable shedding cycles tied to the seasons. But allergy-related shedding tends to be excessive and doesn't follow that normal pattern. You might notice significantly more hair on furniture, clothing, or floors than usual, even outside of a typical shedding season. This happens because chronic skin inflammation disrupts the natural hair growth cycle, causing more hair to fall out than would normally be expected. If shedding suddenly increases without a clear seasonal explanation, it's worth considering whether an allergy is the underlying driver. And the 12th sign is behavioral changes tied directly to discomfort, such as restlessness, difficulty settling down, or irritability specifically when a particular area of skin is touched. Chronic itching and discomfort take a real toll, not just physically, but on a dog's overall mood and behavior. A dog that's constantly itchy often struggles to relax the way they normally would. You might notice them getting up frequently to scratch, seeming agitated for no clear reason, or reacting more sensitively than usual when you pet certain areas of their body. This sign is easy to attribute to just having an off day, but when it's consistent and tied to the same physical areas, it's your dog telling you their skin discomfort is affecting their quality of life. So let's bring these 12 signs together. Persistent localized scratching, red or inflamed skin, patchy hair loss, hot spots, chronic ear infections, excessive paw licking, dry, flaky skin with a dull coat, skin discoloration, unusual odor, swelling, excessive shedding, and behavioral changes tied to discomfort. Individually, a few of these signs might not mean much. Every dog scratches sometimes. Every dog sheds. But when you start seeing several of these signs together, especially if they're recurring or getting worse over time, that pattern points strongly toward an underlying allergy. It's also worth understanding that dog allergies generally fall into 3 categories. Environmental allergies, triggered by things like pollen, dust mites, or mold. Food allergies, triggered by specific ingredients in their diet. And flea allergies, where even a single flea bite can trigger a significant reaction in sensitive dogs. Figuring out which category is driving your dog's symptoms usually requires working with your vet, since the signs themselves often look similar regardless of the underlying cause. But identifying that an allergy is present in the first place, that's the first and most important step. And that's exactly what these 12 signs help you do. The good news is that skin allergies, while frustrating, are very manageable once identified. Many dogs go on to live completely comfortable lives once the right combination of diet, environment, and treatment is figured out for their specific triggers. What matters most is not waiting until the symptoms become severe. The earlier an allergy is identified, the easier it typically is to manage, and the more discomfort you can spare your dog along the way. If your dog is showing 2 or more of these signs, especially if they're persistent or getting worse, it's time to have a conversation with your veterinarian about allergy testing and management options.